G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounce. For this, my final team going in to round one. Stay tuned. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. It's taken some time. I've been tinkering with this team like no one's business, honestly. I just have really struggled to come to a structure that I really like this year. And I've been tossing and turning, and I just did not have a team ready to go before the round zero games. And that's why I didn't put it up because I don't like half-assing things. I certainly want it to be the best I can possibly make it. And I personally have to feel good. The brain has to be like, yep, sure, that's fine. That's logical. That's reasonable. But my heart also has to be in the right place and to feel comfortable with it. This is the latest team that I do actually feel a little bit comfortable with and almost resigned that, you know what, this is just the way it's going to be. So I'm picking the players that I want to pick based on what I've seen, based on what I've heard, based on what I've read. And I think, all in all, it's pretty good. So we'll start in the back line. Harry Sheezel. I have contemplated teams without him, especially when I consider the fact that he could cop 2 weeks in a row of tags. He could get a Neil Bullen tag followed up by a James Jordan tag. But I just feel like when I recall what happened last year in not starting him, it was one of the worst feelings in the world just watching him go absolutely bananas. And this guy could genuinely average 120 for the year. It's not even a stretch. This guy is Nick Dacos 2.0, and we've got him in the back line, and it's going to be the last time we will have him in the back line. So I'm just going to start him and enjoy watching him because I do enjoy watching him. Your enjoyment of the game will substantially reduce when you're watching games of football or you're watching highlight reels and you see Harry Sheezel just doing Harry Sheezel things and you just know that he's not in your team. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of looking to get sharp objects and stab them in my eyes. I'm not a big fan of that. So I'm just going to enjoy it. And that's going to be the general consensus for this team. It's going to be a team that I'm just going to enjoy watching for various reasons. So Sheezel, I'm going to enjoy watching him. Zorko, I'm going to enjoy watching him as well because the Brisbane Lions have such a ridiculous fixture to start the season off with. It is ridiculous. And hey, Dane Zorko will be all the happier for it in such a bruise-free role coming out of the back line. Yeah, I just think I have to start him. I know he's old, but hey, he was old last year, and that did not matter. So Dane Zorko in the side. Someone else who's also a little bit older, but I just think presents so much value. It's my boy Tom Stewart. These two guys have absolutely come into the fore because of this no round 3 bye change. Alfred has completely disrupted everything. He's affected Queensland, but he's also affected my team in ways that I would not have anticipated. Both Zorko and Stewart now find themselves in my team as a result of that fixture change. Stewart, he is a top 6 caliber defender. He is normally around the 600k mark. He is one of the best players in the competition, and opposition teams knew about it, which is why they tagged him. To avoid the tag, Geelong have come up with a new role for him. Start in the middle, attend centre bounces, and then go back behind the play. In that role, he averaged 110. He is priced as the 18th most expensive defender. If he can go 110 in the back half of the year, the same way that he did last year, if he can do that this year, 110, that is top 6 caliber defender at the 18th price range. I just think the value is too good to deny. And without the buy as well, I think he is a great buy. Sorry, I can't help myself. So I think that he has both upside and value and potential keeper as well. So I think Tom Stewart. So happy with this pick. We then get to Jaden Shaw. So I'm going to enjoy watching this guy play because Richmond are going to have all of the play coming out of their backline. It's not going to be a front half game. I think it's definitely going to be a back half game, and it will be a slow one at that. Adam Uze coming out and saying that they're going to play a possessive style of football, which is not a game style that will lead to wins. It is a style that leads to losing less hard. They're going to be clearly trying to stem the bleeding, but it will not be enough. They will have a lot of scores kicked against them, and it means lots of kick-ins for Jaden Short. He's gonna get a lot of uncontested marks. They're gonna chip it around, and I just can't see opposition teams really trying to grind Richmond into the dust. They're a very young team, full of draft picks, a bunch of kids, and everyone knows that they're gonna rock up and just get an easy 4 points against them. I can see most teams not press up super hard and oppressively, and they're just going to take the easy 4 points, not risk any injury, and they're going to let Jaden Short do whatever he wants in that back line because it is not damaging. So I think Jaden Short at that price point, I think he can certainly go above 95 with that role. I mean, how can he not, barring injury? So if he gets injured, then that's something that will happen. But I'm not looking to set up my team with the ideas of injuries because I think it's such an unfun way to play the game. And you end up stressing out over everything and anything and jumping at shadows. So I think Jaden Short get in my side. Roberts is one who has been on the agenda of quite a bit this preseason, given the way that he performed at the back end last year and whether or not he's going to continue playing that way. We saw in round 0 with that free look, beautiful score of 124, beautiful roll off halfback. Yes, he didn't take lots of kick-ins, but he was the one that was receiving them. And that is almost just as good, basically. So Matt Roberts, in what was also a lot of rainy conditions, could have yielded a lot of turnovers, but he maintained a high disposal efficiency rate. So on you, Matty Roberts, you are in the side. And I've also got Perryman. I am going very deep in the back line. I don't think there are too many teams out there that are going all 6 deep in the back line, and I think that is where I'm going to have my point of difference be because I don't think any of my individual selections are pods. I mean, even Stewart, he was more of a pod before, but at this point, he's now up to 9%. Wouldn't be surprised if he cracks the 10% ownership rating. So I don't think I have too many pods as individual selections, but I just think the mix of the team, the way it's set up, is going to be a point of difference because I'm not fielding a rookie in the back line on the field. They're going to be both on my bench, and because I like each of these players. Perryman, I had my suspicions about him, but watching the game on the weekend where it was glorious and they were absolutely ripped apart, they were exposed for the lack of speed that they've got at the Pies. And it just got worse and worse as the game went on. And, Craig McRae said that they really missed him at the stoppages because they sent him behind the ball in the last quarter. They're too slow around the ball and they need ball winners and they need to be able to get the ball moving forward. And I think Perryman, when he was on ball in that first quarter where all of the damage was done for his scoring, was really impressive. He didn't have the best disposal efficiency and they were absolutely pummeled. How often are the Pies going to get pummeled like that? Well, hopefully every week. Stuff you Collingwood. But to be real, I honestly think that at his price, even 93s are good enough for him to make money. And for him to only be at 29%, I think is really good for us owners. Could be certainly more, especially if he scored a bit higher. And I actually have more trust in Perryman than Roberts at this point. So really happy to have Perryman on the field as well. I think each of these guys are going to be giving me great scores week in, week out. And I will not be in a rush to be upgrading these guys because if they go the way that I think they're going to go, it just means that I get to focus on trading in my other areas of ground where I have need and have the defenders, because I know last year the defensive line really sucked and all of the rookies were dropping left and right. So happy to just not have that issue and just get the best rookies on the bench, being Zach Reed and trainer, I want both of these guys, and I think they are the best rookies of the bunch. There is, of course, Patton as well, but his job security isn't assured. He is just there on a clock until Cunningham returns, but we will, of course, still be including him in our team, just not in the back line. Going to have these two perfectly covers for Roberts and Perryman when they are out in their bye round. Reed and Trainer, I think, are both players that a lot of coaches might be comfortable fielding at D6. Well, I'll have both of them fielded during that bye round where Roberts and Perriman are both out, but I think they'll both be very serviceable and worthwhile investments. We then get to the midfield, and Brayshaw has been my M1 for the longest of times, ever since the injury to Butters. Brayshaw, since then, has been my M1. He has not left my side ever. Ever. Rosie is the new addition because Rosie now should be getting a lot more centre bounce attendances given the injury news to Butters, and his run to start with is absolutely glorious. I am not missing out on that. It will be great for potentially the first 2 months of football, after which I doubt he will be top 8, but you never know. They might want to ease Butters back slowly. They might think that the midfield mix is doing really well as is, and I think Rosie just is primed. If he's not top 8, he would make money to get him to someone else, but in the meantime, he's going to be giving me great scores, I think. Then we move to Clayton Oliver. Again, one that has never left my side. Chera, another one that I've been really bullish on. He's at 12%. Again, not one that's very highly owned, but his run is also ridiculously easy as well. Seems to be fit, hasn't missed a session, will be a top 3 midfielder at the Blues. He's their best kick inside 50. I've said it all. I love Adam Chera as a selection. Someone who is new is Finn Callahan. Am I reacting a lot because of his great performance on the weekend? No, I think I'm reacting just appropriately because Finn Callahan was someone that was discussed in our live streams during the preseason, and we actually called that he was going to be a really good scorer in round 0 without Tom Green in the side. He will get a big bump up in the CBAs, and he did. He had 88%. Is he going to have 88% every single round? No, probably not. But he is their best midfielder already, in my opinion. He is going to be a mainstay there. They've paid up $1.2 million a year for this guy. He turned down a record-breaking deal from the Saints to show the faith to the Giants, and they're not going to be paying him that much money to play as a winger or as a half forward. His position is on ball, and we saw it clear as day. Is he going to be playing against witches' hats every single week? No, definitely not. But what he is going to have is he's going to have Tom Green back. And Tom Green is one of the best excavators in the competition. He's going to feed the ball out to Finn, and he's going to be bursting away all day, every day. I just think that Tom Green coming back is a benefit to Finn. It's a benefit, as crazy as it is. Is he going to score 144s every week? Absolutely not. He is not going to score 144s every week. But at 441.6K, he is not required to do that. He will be a very, very great option, similar to the Roberts, similar to the Shorts and the Perrymans. People that will just chug away, scoring incredibly well at their price. And that's what I'm looking for. If I'm picking players. If they're not top of line, I'm picking them because they've got upside. And so far, that's what I'm trying to do. Players that you just enjoy watching. You don't enjoy watching Brayshaw work his ass off left and right, up and down the ground. You don't enjoy watching Rosie flash through some 1-2s, hit the scoreboard. Clary, the pig in full flight. Chera, he's going to be hitting up those incredible forwards for Carlton in the forward line, and the way that they got the run, very soft for inside mids. Finn, you didn't enjoy watching him against Collingwood? That was so good. So I'm picking all these guys that I think have upside and are just genuinely enjoyable to watch. We then get to the rookies. Nathan O'Driscoll, 4th year in the system, getting some CBAs with Hayden Young out of the side. I think this guy genuinely should be in everybody's team. I really rate him. What was his ownership? Let me have a look. Only 23%. That's a joke to me. I think Nod should certainly be a lot higher owned. Love him. Lige never left. Always really bullish about him. Same thing with Nevet. 39%. He looked unreal in that preseason game against us. He is such a great player. Such a great player. Should be attending the centre bounces to the bench. Elijah Hewitt, his coach has come out saying that he looks really good and should be playing in round one. Only time will tell. He doesn't lack for talent. It was his body letting him down. Hopefully, he is up and ready to go. I've got Hasty here. I really like what I saw from him in the preseason game. If it's not him and it's one of the cheaper St Kilda rookies that get named, then that's fine. I at least have paid up for the more expensive one so that if the cheaper one gets named, then I can go down to him. Unlike if I was to start a Boxall, for example, and he doesn't get named, I have to find money to get up to a Hasty. So happy to start with Hasty, pending, of course, the team sheets as they come out. And then we've got Lucas Camporeale in there, confirmed to be debuting, and from reports appears to be owning that wing spot. So love to see it. It's only 113. We don't normally like wingers, but at that price, we'd love to see it. This is where I've gone very different to previous iterations of my team. I've got TDK number one. TDK was always going to be a lock with the news of Pitane out with the calf. So just lock him in. I can't believe he's under 50% owned. That's insane to me. And the early fixture is so easy as well. I've got Matt Flynn at R2. This is really risky. I get it. I know. But our issue with Flynn was never his ability. Our issue with Flynn was his body. And into my eye, I thought his body looked all right when he was playing in that preseason game against North Melbourne. He wasn't up against a scrub. He was playing against Tristan Sherry and he scored a 98. Really think that if you're able to do that against Tristan Sherry, then I think you're right to go. And I think you're ready to play in round one. He was obviously interviewed also on the radio, and he said, back me in and pick me when they asked him about fantasy. So he sounded really confident there, and he looked really confident and fit in that preseason game as well. So he's not one that we're looking to keep for the whole year. He's one that we're looking to have for maybe the first month until DPPs come out and maybe trade him up to the first available player who we can get. It could be a Rowan Marshall if he's playing predominantly forward. It means that he's certainly overpriced at 603k. If he gets DPP as well, that would be glorious. It could even be someone like a Briggs that we can trade in at around that time, because I think Briggs certainly presents value. And when you include the fact now that he's finished the game on 5 points, he is going to drop in price even more. He will be certainly value after he comes back from his bye moving forward. So Lynn, it might seem risky at first, but when you look at the alternate options, there are avenues that he doesn't need to survive for very long. And part of what Flynn has going for him as well is that he's playing against Reedy in round 3. Reedy, bless him and his soul, is not very good at Supercoach scoring. He lost to Livingston in the run. So if that's going to be the case, and if Flynn can go 98 against Sherry, what's he going to do against Reedy? That's what I want to know, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, because that game is going to be really important for his cash gen. And if he scores over 100 in that, which you would certainly hope so, if he can go 98 against Sherry, he better go over 100 against Reedy. So Flynn is in there, not for the longest time. Just make us our money and get out of there. We then move to the forward line. The horny one, he's in there, locked and loaded to go. Do I have to elaborate? Rankin is in there because I think he's up there, really, like top 3 forward category. He's been training exclusively with the midfielders over the preseason, and that's insane. That's so good. 521. The upside to this pick, he's priced at an average of 96. This guy could go easily 10 points over. So really happy with Rankin, and their starting fixture is also very favorable. So he can get in there as well. We then get to McRae, 66% only. What are people doing? Hey, you know what? Three ranks. At least we know that 40% of the comp aren't serious. Caleb Daniel, 74, should be closer to 90. What are people doing? But it is fine. They can do that. I've got Sam Power Pepper in at F5. He's been elevated to the leadership group over there at Port, which clearly means that his presence certainly is valued. I love the way he goes about it. I enjoy watching Sam Pepper play. He's almost like the Russell Westbrook of the AFL. He just goes hard, heart and soul type player. You just enjoy watching him go about it. He's got a pretty good run to start off the season as well. Adelaide Power, no butters. Could see him play a high half forward role, coming up the stoppages to help out there as well. And he's got Richmond in round 2. So that's just, again, another opportunity for a great spike game for him. And then at F6, we've got Davidson. He looked sensational in the preseason game. Genuinely, yes, he's a winger, which means not guaranteed to get all of the points all the time if the play is not on his side. But he's a very smart man, studying medicine and playing for Bevo. He's a mature age player. He loves those. He's cheap 113, very highly credentialed coming out of the VFL as well. So Sam Davidson, absolutely welcome to the side. I already forecast that I'm going to have Ben Patton in the side, and I've got Stone because I think he showed enough. I thought he did quite well in the game against Collingwood, and I think he should get a gig. I don't have his counterpart in Leake in the back line because I fear that Leake is going to be the first one out when Tom Green comes back. I just think Stone has better job security than Leake does. Leake, unfortunately, I wish he could have stayed, but it's not going to happen. Just cut the tires and move on. And then in the flex, I've got, of course, our favorite Ashy, Levi Ashcroft, to be right there. The Lions have a great opening fixture. And yes, there was obviously some concerns about him potentially wearing the sub vest, but the tragic news of Lincoln McCarthy rupturing his ACL, thoughts and prayers with him and his loved ones. Such a devastating injury right on the dawn of the season. I just think it means that Levi Ashcroft has more cemented time on ground as a result. So I think Ashcroft will certainly play a lot more forward of centre as opposed to in the midfield. But with the run that they've got to start off with, all of the tough games that they've got basically are at home. And we know how great the Lions are at home. West Coast in round 2, Geelong at home, Richmond, the Dogs at Norwood, Collingwood at home. Again, tough game at home. Then they've got the Saints, then Gold Coast at home. Melbourne are at home. And North Melbourne. So it's the AFL have certainly looked after the Melbourne Demons this year, and I think Levi Ashcroft will benefit from that. And so it is pretty tight. $2,200 left in the bank, but I still think, geez, why is this message so oppressive? Come on, Supercoach. Come on, Herald Sun. I'll get them in. Don't you worry. I'll get the emergencies. Leave me alone. Forgive me. All right, stop biting. So this is what the team looks like, ladies and gentlemen. The individual selections really are not very potty. They're really not. But I just think that every one of the players that I've selected are either going to be top of their line, giving me top of line scoring, or they're going to give me upside. And I think this team, what it has going for it is there's only these two are the only two players on field in round 2. Callahan's the only player in round 3. The rest of the team are all playing. Zorko and Stewart no longer have the early bye. And we'll put the VC against Richmond. And we'll just leave Sheasel as the captain against the Bulldogs side without Trelaw and without Bontempelli. So we'll just leave it with the Shees. He's going to have Sherry destroying English in the ruck. So first use, I reckon the Shees could go very, very nicely against the Bulldogs. So there's that. Could potentially go with a Rosie against the slow Pies we saw, but you anticipate hopefully for the Pies for their sake to bounce back in a really big way. could also go with Zorko against the Swannies. Zorko, last time they played, scored a 129 and 120 at the SCG. So could be a Zorko, but you know what? I'm just going to back in the young blood, my Smoky for the Brownlow if North can win enough games. Harry Sheasel. It is an interesting team. No one individual selection, as I said, is very potty, but I just think the structure has, I think, just great upside picks. I don't have a Will Day, who is an underpriced player as well, but I just think his body isn't reliable. He's going to have the Bedford tag before his bye as well. And I just think that he's not going to have free reign against us. I can see us sending Sammy Durham to him, and it really worked incredibly well when we did that tactic against the Bontempelli and the Bulldogs last year. He's a taller mid. We all know what the Bont is. Bont is Bont, but he was held to like 73 odd points or something last year because Durham was sensational in that game. I can see us putting attention into Day. So he's going to have attention from us. He's going to have attention from Bedford, and then he's got the early buy as well. Finn Callahan, you can say, there's no point starting him at the moment because of the early buy. He won't have his price rise before his buy. He'll only play the one game, but I'm not looking to. I'm just really confident that he's going to have bulk CBAs, and the person who's going to make way for Tom Green to come back will probably be Kelly, who's going to play a bit more wing time, and Leake, unfortunately, will be gone as well. And like I said, I just think the addition of Tom Green is a benefit to Finn Callahan, and he'll certainly outperform his price point. And him being the only player that I've got in that buy round just means that I don't think I will be overly affected. And I'm really keen, I think, to see how this team goes. So I'm looking forward to. I wish I could have the money to afford a Gorn against Lockie Keefe. That would be glorious, but I'm not going to spend up all of that money in the ruck when Melbourne have come out and said that they're going to be managing him and giving him some support in the ruck, which probably means reduced ruck time, maybe reduced time on ground. He did have an injury interrupted preseason because of his larynx, but he says he's fitter than ever before. What else is he going to say? He's not going to say, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not as good as last year, mate. Don't pick me." You know, he's not going to say that. So I'm just trying to pay, looking for value. This is a team looking for value, barring I'm not giving up 120 point scores in the back line. The value with Sheasel is the trades saved. Same thing with Zorko. The value there is that his run is going to give me great scoring to start off the season. So I think everyone else is either appropriately priced or underpriced. And that's the value that I'm going for. I'm fielding these three rooks. Most people are fielding three rooks in the midfield anyway. Davidson's a rook and Ashcroft's a rook. So I'm fielding 5 rookies. Pal Pepper, whilst being rookie priced, is not a rookie. He's not a rookie. He's an experienced campaigner, leadership group. So I've got 5 genuine rookies on the field. And I'm feeling pretty confident, feeling pretty comfortable with it. Yes, Flynn's a bit of a risk, but if one of these mid prices doesn't work, I can downgrade them to another rookie, maybe send Patton back there. If not Patton, then I can go all the way down to a Pryor, and I can then upgrade Flynn to another premium in the ruck line. So I do have an avenue to make a correction to the side with these risky spots in 2 trades without needing to burn a boost. We do have correction trades up our sleeve. We do have 40 trades for the year. That does include some correction trades. So I'm going for a little bit of risk in the R2 spot to be able to use my money elsewhere. And this is what the team looks like. So guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think about it. If you think, Joe, you are crazy, do this and this, or give me your suggestions. I'm always open to suggestions. And as you can see, I've picked the side with a lot of players that are just really enjoyable to watch for their various roles, as well as just the way they go about the game. I'm really happy with the team. I'm pretty content with it. I was, as I said, tossing and turning about what the best structure is in terms of how I want it to look, People might say this team is just way too heavy in the backline. The team is too heavy in the backline. You can afford to fill the rookie. But to be honest, there's none of these players that I really want to drop. So this could say I'm being greedy guts, as the Godfather would say, being greedy guts with the players. I don't want to let go of anybody. I don't want to let go of any of these guys. And because I don't want to let go, I'm not going to. So this is what the team looks like. I'm always open and happy to hear your suggestions that you think can make the team better. I'm always open to being convinced otherwise. I'm not one that's going to be set in my ways. I'm just confident that this is an appropriate way to go. I'm looking to enjoy the game a lot more this year and be less stressed out about it. I think last year, I think I was a lot more stressed, which then caused me to make some questionable decisions rather than backing my gut. And it ended up being a lot harder of a season than it needed to be. So I'm going to be a lot more open about it, a lot happier, a lot more jovial and calm and collected, and let the game come to me rather than make myself force changes. I think every one of these players, like I said, can either outperform their price or be appropriately valued. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you had to see or hear from me today, please drop me a like, subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell because it goes a long way to helping to grow the channel out a lot and improve the quality of the content that we put out. Because here at the Centre Bounce, this is our motto. We do the hard work so that you guys don't have to. Bye.